This is America at Night with Rich Valdes.
Do you think that he was talking about using the military against you? And how concerned are you about retribution?
Clearly, that's what he was talking about. Would he go to that length with the military, essentially fulfill some kind of a unconstitutional order? I would hope the military would have more independence than that. Historically, the military has stood up to civilian authority where civilian authority has suggested, as in his first administration, unconstitutional acts. Look, I'm not going to be intimidated by anything he says, by anything he does. If I was, I wouldn't be on your show. I'm going to do my responsibility in the Senate.
That is Senator-elect Adam Schiff for Brains. Now, Adam Schiff for Brains was a congressman, and we didn't like him then. We like him less even now. And he's got a lot more power. He's got a bigger microphone, and he's going to be around for another 6 years. So thanks, California. But he's talking about the lawfare that he claims Trump is going to use against him, but it was, in fact, Adam Schiff that was involved in the lawfare against Trump. Now we got Jack Smith wrapping up his shop and tucking tail and running. I want to get into this with Paul Kamenar. He is NLPC Counsel, lead counsel there, and he is our guest now. He's an appellate attorney, a constitutional law expert. Paul Kamenar, welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
You bet. So in looking at what's going on here, I think the hypocrisy is very rich. But from the legal perspective, I guess we have under 2 minutes before we have to take our break. Okay. What are your thoughts on this alleged lawfare?
Well, I mean, obviously it's been abused during the Biden administration, and now we're going to see it coming to an end, at least with respect to Jack Smith. He's packing his bags, and next Tuesday, I think December 2nd, or 2 weeks from now, he's got to file something with the federal court giving his blueprint for wrapping it up. But that case is going away, and he sees the writing on the wall because obviously once Donald Trump is president, he could have him fired and orders Justice Department to drop both the D.C. case here and the Mar-a-Lago. So that's wrapping up. And then there's two other cases that are still hanging in there that are state cases. We got the New York case with the biased Judge Merchan and the Georgia case with Fannie Willis and her lover boy. That case is also been put on hold today. That was on appeal, whether she should be kicked off the case. So both those cases, I think, are going to be wrapping up. But we won't know more until tomorrow about the New York case, whether Judge Merchan is going to throw in the towel on that one because of the immunity implications of the Supreme Court. I think that might still linger on for a while. But the main case with Jack Smith and his cronies and prosecutors, they're wrapping up that one in the next few weeks.
Folks, we're on with Paul Kamenar. He is lead counsel at the National Legal and Policy Center, and he's got a very robust career that I'll share with you a little bit more when we come back. So don't go anywhere. Plus, I want to get his opinion on some of this crazy ballot counting that's going on in Pennsylvania. Many are saying it's unconstitutional, including the state Supreme Court. So keep it locked right here. We're coming right back with Paul Kamenar, lead counsel for the National Legal and Policy Center. Don't go anywhere. I'm Rich Valdes.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. From the co-director of Shrek and the visionary behind Toy Story comes Spellbound, a magical new animated adventure starring Rachel Zegler, John Lithgow, Jennifer Lewis, Nathan Lane, and Titus Burgess with Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman. When a powerful spell turns her parents into monsters, Princess Elian must journey into the wild to reverse the curse before it's too late. Watch Spellbound only on Netflix November 22nd.
Blinds.com is kicking off the savings early with Black Friday mega deals all month long. A Blinds.com design expert can help you make the perfect selection on your schedule. We can even handle everything from measure to your whole home installed for just one low cost. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Get up to 45% off site-wide and a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I want to listen to you, Rich, all the time.
America at Night with Rich Valdes.
All right, amigos, welcome back, familia. We continue our conversation on this abuse of the legal system in order to get your political will done. And we've seen it against Trump time and again. Adam Schiff was just saying that he's expecting Trump to use the Justice Department against him, which I found very rich and quite comical. But we're seeing it in Pennsylvania now, where elections officials are abusing their authority and disobeying the law and trying to use the law in their favor, right? Or to bend the law in many ways to count votes that shouldn't even be counted, to try and eke out a victory for Senator Bob Casey in what's, I think, an election that's already been called, at least from my view it has. And the Bucks County Board chair, her name, Commissioner Diane Ellis Marseglia, she's apologizing for the upset and confusion that have been caused by her comments last week about her reasoning for wanting to count ballots that the court has already deemed deficient. But when you hear this clip of what she said, there's no way it couldn't cause a national backlash. Listen to this.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
I'm not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Again, that is Commissioner Bucks County Board of Elections there saying, we're not listening to the court. Whatever the court said, forget about it. We're not doing it. I want to tap back into our expert here, constitutional law expert, who is with us for this evening, Paul Kamenar. He's the lead counsel at the National Legal and Policy Center. And Paul Kamenar has been in the game for a long time. You know, back when I was a year old, he represented Senator Barry Goldwater and other members of Congress in a Supreme Court case where they challenged President Carter. And I want to bring him back into the fold to really get a handle on his thoughts on what's going on in Pennsylvania. Welcome back, Paul.
Yeah, hey, hi, thanks. Yeah, no, what's going on in Pennsylvania? I mean, it's the same kind of shenanigans that was going on back in 2020 and in other states as well, where they were basically ignoring the election laws and making it up on the fly. Recall in 2020 they were counting ballots that came in after the deadline, and that was back when they were saying, well, we have the COVID going on, so we're going to allow these ballots to come in because they were late, but who cares? As long as they're for Joe Biden, we're going to count them.
Right.
But yeah, and the violation there was under the Constitution, the state Constitution of Pennsylvania, all these laws have to be made by the legislature, the people who were elected by the representatives to make these regulations and procedures, not by some election official who on the fly changes the rules. And that's what's going on right now with this commissioner who said, I don't care what the law says. These ballots, I'm going to count them in if they were not dated or signed or whatever the rules require. And they're basically defying the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania and the court orders on this. So this is nothing new on their Democrats' part. So that's going to be always reversed. So that's why that election is going to probably result in a recount, because the vote was so close. It's within the 0.5% difference, as I understand it, which triggers the right to have a recount. So we'll see how that plays out, but it's got to be very careful that the votes are counted the right way. But this may go on for weeks and weeks with future litigation.
Right, and what's interesting is, again, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which is a Democrat-leading court, I think they're 5-2 Democrat. They ruled today that they had to go for it. That they couldn't count these ballots. So I just find it so interesting that they can't even agree amongst themselves, the Democrats.
Right, exactly. And as that commissioner, you had the recording where she's basically saying, I don't care what the courts say, I'm defying a valid court order. So that commissioner should be kicked off the panel just for dereliction of duty right then and there. But the larger lawfare that's been going on, as we talked in the first segment, dealt with the whole Jack Smith and special counsel and the Alvin Braggs of the world and the Fani Willis in Georgia going after Donald Trump, and Jack Smith before the election said that if Trump wins, I'm going to continue to prosecute him until Inauguration Day, because he realized that after the day of inauguration on January 20th, Trump could fire him and have all these cases dropped. So he finally wised up and saw the writing on the wall. So on December 2nd, he's going to have to file with the court here in D.C. what he plans to do with that case, as well as the case in Florida, although that case was dismissed by the judge there in Florida on the grounds that Jack Smith was unconstitutionally appointed. In fact, that's the very argument I made challenging Robert Mueller's appointment back in the Russia hoax case, and the D.C. Circuit here ruled against me. But when Trump got indicted in Florida, I sent all my legal briefs down to the attorneys there in Florida and said, hey, look, let's run this argument again, because the Florida courts are not bound by the ruling in the D.C. Circuit, even though all the liberal pundits kept on saying, oh, Eileen Cannon is violating precedent. That's not precedent where one court in a different jurisdiction rules one way. Precedent is only really established by the Supreme Court. And it's my opinion that if these cases were still going on, let's assume Trump lost the election and Jack Smith kept on his jihad under the Kamala Harris regime, I'm convinced that those cases would be reversed by the Supreme Court in any event. So this is just basically, getting to the right result right away with now Trump being elected.
Yeah, and to that end, this malfeasance that we see coming from the Department of Justice, the current remedy seems to be President Trump nominating Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General. And this, for many, was a shock. To others, was a surprise and something I think a lot of people didn't see coming. But he's definitely a loyalist and has done amazing work on the Judiciary Committee. But some are saying, he can't get past the confirmation hearing, or if he does get the confirmation, that they must release this ethics report. But the House rules say that they don't have to release ethics reports for anybody who's no longer in Congress, and he's already resigned his position. So your thoughts on that? Yeah, no, that's a good question. I was surprised by Matt Gaetz's appointment. I thought there was going to be a different Matt appointed, Matt Whitaker, who you may recall was the acting Attorney General after Bob Barr resigned, and he's a very good Trump loyalist. I'm sorry, Bill Barr resigned. So Matt Whitaker did not get appointed. So it's Matt Gaetz, and everybody's saying, well, Matt Gaetz doesn't have any experience, et cetera. But as you pointed out, he was on the House Judiciary Committee.
He was very, very strong on oversight against the Department of Justice. And they're saying, well, he doesn't have an experience in the Justice Department or prosecutor. And my response is, well, wait a minute. Remember President John F. Kennedy? Who did he appoint as his Attorney General? His brother Bobby. And Bobby
Right.
didn't have any experience. And John F. Kennedy says, well, John F. Kennedy joked. He says, well, I'm going to put him in the Justice Department so he gets some experience, so when he gets out, he can get join a law firm. I mean, so when the Democrats do it, it's okay, but when Trump appoints a loyalist, then everybody is saying that that's a bad choice, no experience, etc. But we'll see how this plays out. He can be appointed in a recess appointment. That in itself gets a little tricky on how that's going to be done in terms of not only Matt Gaetz, but maybe some of the other nominations for cabinet officials. But even if he is appointed through a recess appointment, that would only last for this one Congress. So he would then have to be renominated and go through confirmed by the Senate. So it's going to be tough. One way or the other, but the main thing is the number 2 person that Trump appointed, I know personally, is Todd Blanche.
Blanche, he's a civil attorney.
Yeah, Todd Blanche was his lead attorney, criminal attorney in the New York hush money case. He also was the attorney here in the January 6th case here in D.C. He's got a terrific prosecutorial background and defense attorney background. So the deputy attorney general is the number 2 person at the Justice Department who basically does the day-to-day running of the shop and coordinates with all the 92 U.S. attorneys. So it's in good hands, whereas Matt Gaetz, as the attorney general, is basically setting the overall policy, and his policy is basically to root out this lawfare that's going on, and a lot of the deep state attorneys there are now dusting off their resume and looking for other jobs because they know that the jig is up here in terms of their way they've been acting over the last 4 years.
Yeah, I saw some reports that some of them are retaining counsel because they think they might be in trouble.
Well, that's right. That's right. And some of them should. In fact, some were even prosecuted. There was the one FBI attorney who, as you recall, had these doctored these FISA warrants.
Oh, Kleinsmith. Yeah,
against Carter Page, and to go have them spied on, and that was found out that they altered a CIA document, and that guy was convicted. He pled guilty. Unfortunately, even though I filed a brief saying they ought to throw the guy in jail, the judge just slapped him on the wrist and gave him probation, and went after his bar license, and that was only suspended for a few months, and they let him back in. So that's how this kind of criminal activity by the Justice Department was treated. So hopefully with the new administration, they'll deal with this in a very strict manner.
Paul Kamenar, I want you to let everybody know how they can keep up to speed with the amazing work that you're doing with the NLPC.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's I'm the lead counsel, as you said, with the National Legal and Policy Center. We're a small ethics watchdog group here in D.C. area, and just go to our website, nlpc.org, O-R-G, nlpc.org, and you'll see all the stuff that we're doing. We file ethics complaints against the likes of AOC, Senator Schumer, Black Lives Matter, et cetera. Then we also take on the woke corporations for all their DEI activities and LGBTQ and all that kind of nonsense. So please go to our website, and we appreciate any support your listeners can give us.
Outstanding. Folks, check them out at nlpc.org. Paul Kamenar, I want to thank you for being with us. You're a gentleman, a scholar, and a patriot.
Thank you very much.